just wanted to say that I'm excited about Summer House. That's number one. Number two, why doesn't Lindsay get the attention that Ariana is getting? But I'm not trying to knock Ariana either, but I'm just saying why? So Summer House is underway. This is exciting. Summer House since season one has always been pretty interesting to me. I think that Kyle, however you want to describe him, he is fun. And the nucleus of Kyle and Carl and Lindsay, to me, I really enjoy them on the show. Now, Paige is somebody who everybody seems to like. To me, I feel she isn't bringing much, but continues to win. Some people fail up, and that's amazing and exciting for her. But the question I want to ask today is Lindsay. Like, I just feel like, okay, so some people, do we think, I mean, we certainly don't think that Lindsay and Carl's situation was like a setup, to counter or to be an equivalent to Scandival. No, and it would never be the same. But what I wonder is why has it worked so successfully to have a scandal and Ariana's career just be so elevated, and Lindsay, who's for sure, pound for pound, been a stronger reality TV performer, I guess you would say, for many years. And I think about that too, why I mentioned Paige earlier, because if you like Paige, you like Paige. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think about, like, why does Lindsay have to fight so much to be, she doesn't really get rewarded. I don't know what it is. Like, is Lindsay bad behind the scenes? Like, is she tough to work with? I don't think she is. I feel like she's actually really cool, but she didn't get the same success that Ariana got post like a big moment. Yes, and I do think they are different. Carl breaking up at the, you know, days before the wedding is not exactly as bad as what happened with Rachel Raquel and the friendship and the behind the back situation and Tom Sandoval. But at the same time, like, it feels like Lindsay, I mean, no sympathy for her at all. Why? What is it about Lindsay? Is it the toughness, the go-getter in her that doesn't allow people to have a soft spot in their heart? Or is it like we look at Lindsay, she is so loud, she is so vibrant, she is so big. And is it because she is all of those things that we feel like she's tough as nails? Therefore, we can't have any sympathy for her. I'm interested to watch the season. Now, here's my thing with Summer House. Summer House, to me, a little bit underrated. It really has always been a little bit underrated. Not to the point where, like, it's not getting season after season after season, but to the point where I just feel like, isn't anyone excited? Summer House is back, and that, like, is a cool thing to me. Like I said, the complex issue with, like, Paige being really, really, really lackluster, and always winning and filling up. That must be the situation with her and Craig. I believe that definitely helps her out in the Bravo universe, but I have a really hard time understanding what is interesting about her. I understand the job is the fashion maven that she is. Yes, 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 yes. But do you not have to be interesting? And okay, let her be who she is, right? That's fine. But Lindsay, on the other hand, oh my goodness. Now, not to go off, because I really certainly don't usually go off of Instagram as anything, but at the same token, like, when I see Lindsay's Instagram and she's, I guess she's in Nashville a lot, and, businesses flourishing, it just seems very weird that Lindsay, it's so hard for her to really get the acceptance and the love from the Bravo universe. That's specifically what I'm saying. I'm not saying she doesn't have a audience or a fan base. She certainly does have an audience. She has a fan base. However, she doesn't really get the love. I don't think in comparison. And to me, it's like one of those things where, like, without Lindsay, these shows would not go. Lindsay, she is the make my sandwich type of girl. Remember when she told the guy, "You didn't make me a sandwich." She is perfect for this stuff. And she had a career before. I didn't like the notion of, like, oh, you knew you were getting proposed to, so you called People Magazine, this, and this. Everyone on the show has contacts with certain people, and everyone on the show is a brand within themselves. Lindsay she was a publicist for years and years and years. I don't feel like there's any deception or maneuvering about her getting a little extra attention when she got engaged to. Now let's talk about Carl. Now I like Carl for the show. Loved Carl for the show every single time. I understand he's a little corny at occasions. He's very tall. I've walked next to him in New York and I was like, "Oh my god, this man is like very very tall." And I believe that is maybe an allure with why he's always done so good in the dating arena. Tall men go a long way, maybe. But like Carl, yeah, I mean the Peter Pan syndrome, maybe, yeah. I always wonder because I always take up for Kyle because the notion of like, Kyle, grow up. It's like, I mean, can't you be 60 years old? He's not 60, obviously. Can't you be 45 years old? He's not 45, obviously. But can't you be 41 years old and still have a ton of fun? Being irresponsible is maybe a different thing, but you can be, I don't know. Maybe I say that as somebody who is now over 40 years old, and the time really does fly. Um, and it's just always that thing that, like, for men specifically, it's like, oh, Peter Pan syndrome. But I don't know. Isn't Carl maybe, but isn't Kyle actually really responsible and really fun and very much like the nucleus of the show? And didn't we hear that Kyle essentially? I mean, I don't know. We need more information on this. How much of this really was what the story was, but in terms of Kyle meeting or arranging a meeting with the then adored Bethany Frankel and sort of pitching this idea. I mean, it is a really good idea. It's very Jersey Shore. Logo used to have a series called Fire Island. Like, it definitely works. This format, this premise does work. But it does feel like Kyle has mentioned before that, yeah, it got off the ground by way of Bethany, which is just sort of fascinating based on where Bethany is at in terms of with the network and how she feels about reality TV or how she feels about anything for that matter. She seems to talk a lot, and Bethany was the belle of the ball. And really, when Bethany had her 3 series, well, it was 3 seasons, but 2 different series, the Bethany Getting Married and Bethany Ever After, they were good. Like, Bethany is very captivating. I liked her on her HBO series. Remember on the HBO series, it didn't really work, but Jenna Lyons also had an HBO series as well before she did Real Housewives of New York. Anyways, a small world with all this success that goes around. I want in. Anyway, the point of the matter is, Kyle to me is always so important for this show. I don't ever want it to be a situation where they assume him to be aged out. I also think, side note, we'll get back to what we're talking about in a second. I also think, why did Chris Leone not get more of an opportunity? And here is how I would have wrote the story. The great Danielle, the superstar that is Danielle. Danielle and Lindsay and Kyle are my 3 favorites of the show. There's got to be someone else. Gabby Prescott. I love the princess that is Gabby Prescott. Is that the last name? Yes. Gabby is definitely it. Lindsay is definitely it. Carl and Kyle. Carl on the fence, but he's still good for the show. But that darn Chris Leone, what did he need to do differently? Why didn't he get the attention? And why didn't he get a second season? Now, if I was Chris, and I don't know what Chris's situation is, Chris should have been shooting his shot with the great Danielle. And there should have been some type of romance that was budding. And if it would have been budding, then he would have got to play it out on camera with Danielle. And now, I mean, you don't want anyone to do anything they don't want to do. Maybe he doesn't see her in that way, but it's Danielle. Danielle's perfect in every way. Oh, the great Danielle. The way I love Danielle. Let me count the ways. Oh my gosh. And this season that we're going to see, Danielle initially still having the broken bridge with Carl and Lindsay. Now, after everything had happened, when it had happened after filming, it's been a long time in terms of when all this happened, and now we're going to rewatch it on a TV show. But we, of course, know that Danielle, Lindsay, back to a friendship, maybe not as strong as once before, but still, it's good that they're back to a friendship. But I think that is really the most exciting of the show, of Summer House, because Danielle being frustrated is amazing. only because you love her so much and you root for her so much. I don't want to see Danielle in any type of stress. Danielle, fun Danielle. You know how Kyle says Amanda not fun? Well, Danielle's the antithesis of that. She's always fun, and she went through her past breakup. Truth be told, I mean, just in terms of watching the television show and judging, maybe that guy was not for her. But you always want to see Danielle winning and having fun. And then to think, didn't Danielle start on the show by being at one time or another with Carl? That darn Carl. That darn Carl had one time or another been with Paige, Lindsay, Danielle, everybody in the house. Kyle, now Kyle, did you get a shot too? Anyway, I think Kyle is fantastic. He's so easy. Here's the thing about Kyle and Lindsay on this show. They really are those people on reality TV that are so easy to judge. And in my opinion, just my opinion, I feel like they are like the coolest of people. Like, you know how you just get a sense, you've been around a lot of people, I've worked in like broadcast and, production and things of the nature. I just feel like they are so amazing and would be so cool to get along with, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. No, they actually probably are really cool. But the Lindsay to me is just unfair that because she's so headstrong, because she's got her act together, but also is a little bit of a hothead, we just like don't have, what is it? It's something I'm wondering, like, what is it about these strong reality TV characters, like these women, because Lindsay's such a tough, like badass, that when something happens to her, like you instantly think of, like, what did Carl say? Carl said, "Oh, it's so easy for you to paint yourself as like the victim of this situation," kind of like getting her out of the fact that maybe she was part of, well, of course it's a relationship, so yeah, she was part of the breakup, but like, there was, what impact did she play into it? And that's all good and a great talking point for Carl. But I just feel like Lindsay, because she shows herself so much and shows up for herself and is so authentic, it's like easy to tear her down, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Yes, Lindsay Hive all day. Anyways, I think it'll be a good season. And my other question or comment is, yeah, I hope they don't let go of that winter house for forever. I really feel like there's something there. But that last season 3, and it might have been because Tom Sandoval was scheduled and then he got pulled away from the show because of the Scandival, and then Tom Schwartz was the only one of that duo who showed up, and maybe some last minute casting. Like, was Brian Benny originally gonna be in the show, which I think he's fantastic. I was a late Family Karma fan, but I mean, why did they cancel that show? It was so good. Anyways, what do I know? I just wanted to say that I'm excited about Summer House. That's number one. Number two, why doesn't Lindsay get the attention that Ariana is getting? But I'm not trying to knock Ariana either, but I'm just saying, why? Why is Lindsay not getting the attention that Ariana is getting? But yes, instantly you could say they're two different circumstances, but I think it goes deeper than that. I feel like people don't really want to love on Lindsay for some reason, but you watch the show because of what she adds to it. Paige may be fun and she plays really well on Instagram and she's fashionable, but she's not interesting whatsoever. I did watch a full interview that she had done, and I always try to do my due diligence before I make an opinion, and she did seem like a nice girl. But and the one side of an argument that I'll make for Paige DeSorbo is, she mentioned she didn't really want to do reality TV, but otherwise she's on it and she is maneuvering it to build out her career. So to that, I'm like, okay, so maybe this is a little different. Maybe someone like Lindsay, she salivated over the opportunity. She had to have the opportunity, and she was going to take her publicity know-how, jump onto that screen and be a superstar at this program. And I think she is. And whereas Paige DeSorbo maybe wasn't going to do this, it just was in alignment with her career at the time. And she was going to maneuver it to a place where she can have a long career post reality TV, which is very smart. So to that, I will say yes. I can maybe see when I squint why Paige would be interesting, but she's just not been interesting for seasons. And I'm always like, how do these people that aren't interesting do so well on these shows? But yeah, her outside ventures are wonderful. And now, it's like one of those things, like you do one thing that helps another thing. I always say, when you have one thing, you have everything. When you have nothing, you have nothing. Catch it. So yeah. I'm interested to see, and I'm so excited that Gabby Prescott is coming back. I was upset that, like I said, Chris Leone was not coming back. And a lot of the cast members, when you see them not come back, they do still like show up for the big events and stuff like that. And by the way, even though my summer body is not ready, where the heck is my invite? You know what? I'm gonna get my summer body ready. So when Gabby messages me and says, randomly, Ronnie Jr., we want you, your over 40-year-old bad attitude having self, to come to the summer house, I'll say, okay, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready if you're ready. Anyways, which show are you more excited about, or is it even a comparison? You know, they are apples and oranges, although they really aren't, because the show did, remember the Workus sisters, they went to go see Stassi, which introduced them to the show. And then Stassi and a couple of the other cast members came to Summer House originally, which is where we get the great moment where Kyle says, oh, I've never seen anyone in a bathing suit that looks like Steve Jobs, you know, which of course was what he said to Stassi. And Stassi was embarrassed and, like, you know, looking at Kyle like he was nothing. And, you know, at the time he was just doing his thing. He was single at the time, I believe, because Amanda wasn't there at the beginning, right? I mean, she was there, but I feel like she became more prominent on the show season 2. Anyways, it's a good show. And yeah, it is like watching Jersey Shore, but just a different cast of people. I think this type of show, this everyone in a friend group coming together, work your butt off during the week, go have fun on the weekend. Like, I like that vibe for a TV show. It's a good vibe. And I hope that shows like this continue, because they are fun to watch. You know, you vicariously say, oh, I'm not in my 20s anymore. Could I even drink as much as they drink? Although, you know, you can, but you know that you're good. If you could do that on Friday, you're not having a Saturday. Saturday's for sleeping, like Paige, who sleeps during the whole show. But I guess maybe that's the appeal. That's the brand. I really don't know. But yeah, the question of the day is Lindsay. Why aren't we celebrating Lindsay like we're celebrating Ariana? I just will never know. I just will never know.